Good afternoon, my YouTube friends. It's Margaret again from M.E.s Orchids, and the actual orchid you're looking at here is called a Cymbidium, and I must thank Fernanda. Fernanda has a channel, and Fernanda comes from Portugal, and she's got some lovely orchids, and she has a porch full of Cymbidiums. Now, Cymbidiums are very, very large orchids, and we had 3, and which we thought were just ordinary Cymbidiums, and they turned out to be standard, and they take up an awful lot of space. If I back up here, you'll see how big that is. It's absolutely enormous. And I've got this one here which I've also neglected. It had a little bit of black rot starting, so yesterday I've repotted both of these after getting inspiration from Fernanda's channel. I just thought, yes, you know, orchids don't thrive on neglect. Orchids thrive on love. They're like children. And I thought, well, I've really neglected these. And I thought, well, here goes now. And they're both named ones. So last evening I unpotted them, and I've repotted them, and I'm going to love them again now. This one's got plenty of new eyes forming. I've unfortunately not been able to do anything about this leaf here. This one here, I've taken it out from the middle because I'd got quite a bit of dye back on that. And when I emptied that medium out, I can't tell you what was in it. Well, for a start, there were 4 slimy slugs. And I thought, oh goodness, so they quickly got dumped. And then all in the leaves here, all down here, there was bits, there was debris, there was everything. And so they're not staying here. This is on the landing, but I've had to bring them up just to show you. They will go outside, and then come the autumn. I'm not going to put them where I had them before. These will have to stay on the potting bench, and if need be, come the afternoon, they will have to be moved into the garage. But I'm not leaving them actually in the garden itself. I have put some netting at the bottom of this pot so that if slugs tried to crawl over the potting bench, they wouldn't be able to enter anyway. So I'm going to back up now, and if I can, just take you across here, and you may go out of vision. Let me take you into the grow room now. And here we are in the grow room. And let's have a look at the temperature. The temperature is, let's go over, it's, let's have a look, 25.2, and it's 66% humidity. Now, I've been in and out because I've had the mounts in the bathroom, so by opening and closing the door has meant that the humidity has dropped. I've got the humidifier on there, and I've also got one of the fans on. The other fan, this big oscillating fan here, I've switched that off, so it's very, very hot in here. And let's just have a look. That's the one the other day that I repotted, that I've got a ribbon on it, and I've put that much water in there. And no more, just that much. And that one just sits here. And this is the one that's going to abort all the leaves, and that's in that basket. So that's the big white fowl, and it's got nice roots, a new little green tips showing, and it's only got the minuscule amount of water in there. And if I take you onto this shelf, let's have a look. this is the one that my original one, and this is in styrofoam peanuts. And how much water have we got? It just about covers the bottom. And if I go down with you now, and then can you see those roots? They're absolutely loving it. And look underneath, nice and healthy. So all the orchids in this environment are just romping away, and I'm going to gently just back up now while I'm on my hands and knees, and just bear with me a second, because I want you just to take you to the hanging baskets. And this is Pamela Hetherington. I thought I'd do each one individually just to give you a visual. And it's got that new growth there, and it's got new roots there. Let me just show you. Down through there, can you just see? It's very awkward when you've got the... There we go. And this root here, can you see down there? It came through a desiccated root and came out the other side. So that's absolutely romping away. And what can I say? What is the difference this year? Well, the difference this year is, of course, we've had this lovely temperature. Let me bring the other one over here. This extremely warm temperatures. And well, this could be a little bit awkward, I'll have to hook it onto there. And this is the Laelia purpurata, and unfortunately she's going over now. But never mind, because again, look at those roots. The roots will tell you everything. And that one there, that one there. Now, this one that I'm showing you now, here, this one where my finger is, and she's got that new growth appearing there. This is the one that had all those roots that had been nibbed, and she's sending that new growing tip out there. So if you give your orchids the right conditions, they will absolutely take off. I mean, I'm not suggesting 1 minute that you know, I'm any different than anybody else. It's just that it's taken me quite a while to reach this stage. And if I just back up now and bring the last one, I thought it's easier to actually show them here. And again, this is a big one, and this is that got that new growth there. This is Pastoral Innocence, and this one came from Madeira, and this had scale. I really did put this one through the mill, and now I don't know if you can see down there. If you follow that hydrogen ball right down in there, she's got a green tip growing there. And let's have a look here. She's got a new root coming out of, well, she's branching. That's branching. And these get watered, well, I should water these every day. And if I forget to, well, not forget, but it just depends what we're doing in the morning. Like this morning we had a lovely cooked English breakfast outside, and with the table set and the tablecloth on, and so these got sprayed and watered a little bit late this morning. If I don't do them in the morning, then I will do them late evening, and with this really warm weather, it's no detriment that I do them in the evening. So these orchids are all now free from bugs. and that's what we aim for. I tell you, those bugs, although when I take you up now, if you bear with me a minute, and we'll go up slowly. This is the Dendrobium Friedrichsianum, and that's loving this humidity, and of course so is the bulbophyllum. So I'm going to just point you down because Keith's got a pair of trousers on up there, and let me just show you this morning what I found. I was watering. Now this is a big plant, so where am I going to bring it down to? I'll bring it out of its container and show you. And this is my Dendrobium Thistiphorum, and this is drinking water like there's no tomorrow. I've repotted this into this smaller pot, and she's got this new growth here like I'm showing you now. And so I've just been looking at it and I thought, what the? They were just telltale signs, just look. Can you see on that leaf? Hold on, let me bring you down again. Let me go up and down, because if I don't go up and down, you won't see what I'm talking about. Can you see? Now, this is a new growth. And what do bugs and things like? This was in the garden, not for long, but look already. Can you see what's happened? I think that grub, that crawly grub, and I hope there's no more down there, could have been a caterpillar larvae, and I could see it wriggling. It wriggled no more, I tell you. But there, you see, you've got to be so careful. Now, of course, that's last year's growth. And you see, those leaves are too hard, thick. This is nice and soft. Just what nice little jaws can nibble away at. And see those little signs there? Well, that's another thing I'm going to do as well, because you know what I'm like. See whether that, to get the magnifying glass, because sometimes these little marks, they might amount to nothing, but I'll certainly have a look at that shortly. And while I'm down on this shelf, there's Stumpy, and there's a little root. Can you see that little root down there? So little Stumpy's there, and it sits on this bottom shelf. Now I'm not watering that every day now because it's got sphagnum moss in, and so I just keep that just barely moist, just enough. And I'm going to get up again now. Sorry about all this toing and froing. I do apologise. That's the big white fell. There's something about these big white fells. And right, so let's back up again and take this way round, and we're back over here. So I've learnt a lot this last year, and of course it's the humidity, the air movement, and choosing those plants that suit your environment. Now let's take this big dendrobium here, and this is grassy collie, and this is an enormous specimen. But can you see those leaves? Look at them. And I thought, oh dear, what have I done wrong now? And that is because that was outside. You see, sometimes they do not like this intense heat and the sun. So I brought this back in now, and this is drinking water like there's no tomorrow, and that sits up there on that top shelf. And I'll bring that other plant up in a minute. Right, so I'm saying we've got air movement, we've got the humidifier, We have space between the orchids on the shelf because of allowing the air to go through all the plants, which is very important, and reading up and looking at what the actual requirements are. And this is that, I think this is Pastoral Innocence, and that little green knobbing there is still growing. I can't believe it. And having patience. Now you see that one here in the corner, this one here, that I repotted yesterday. Can you see that? That's the Phalaenopsis Linleyi by Phalaenopsis stewartiana, and I just happened to put some styrofoam peanuts in. So I was reading again this morning, and it's a deciduous Phalaenopsis, this is. So I'm thinking, oh, so that's why it's dropped its leaves, and it says that it only usually ever has 1 or 2 leaves. So there's me worrying myself sick, thinking what have I done wrong, and I actually hadn't done anything wrong. So hopefully now, and it says it does not like bright light, but it likes shaded light. So this is in a perfect place. It's also a warm grower, so come the winter it will go back further along this shelf, and that's where the radiator is. So I'm hoping next year maybe this one will give me a flower, so I'll keep my fingers crossed. And let's take up here, and that's the Dendrobium melliform, and that just romps away all summer. It just loves copious amounts of water, and I also do feed it. And this is of course this one here, Macrophyllum, and like I've explained before, this hated it outside, so this has come back in now, and it really does like that spot. The Phragmipediums, they've all got new growths, and they're romping away. This is the Sideria japonica, and now in the Phalaenopsis japonica, and of course I repotted that as well, and I've just give those roots a little spray this morning. So the frags are up on the top here, there we go, and that top fan is on. There's another one there, and this is of course the Miltassia Royal Robe, and that's that new growth there. And she's an enormous plant. So let's just gently take you around this way, and that's my Dendrobium Williamsii. That's a little species 1, and that gets lots of rain this time of the year because of course they do have their monsoons over there. And let's just quickly go over here. I have to be careful because of the window and the sunlight. Now this is the Dendrobium Pendulum, and if you'll notice that new tip there, it's growing, and can you see those roots now? So this one will get topped up today, that little bit of reservoir in those grow stones in that glass vase there. That'll get topped up shortly, and of course that's the lovely Epicatleya. That's been watered, and just have to watch that root there. Can you see? It looks as though it's been caught. I've had to actually release some of this fishing line, because if you're not careful it can strangle those roots. So, and let's have a look up here. You bear with me a minute. And this is the, now we've got the name around here somewhere. This is the Dendrobium Anthem cinnamon primulinum. And that was the leaf, of course. That was growing, well, it's not a leaf, it's a cane. But it was growing, and it was growing back in on itself. And look at those nice roots coming now. So this is another one, you see, you have to get the conditions right. So all you beginners out there, we've all done the same, we've all rushed in, and because everyone, we just think, oh, they're wonderful, and we've all done the same. And I'm not saying to you, just don't do it, because that wouldn't be right. But try and be patient, and then, sorry about the light, try and be patient, because if you do get your conditions right, then your orchids will be romping away. This one here, this gets watered like the mounts. And what's this one called? Oh, this is Collie Intermedia by Intermedia var Aquini. And can you just see in there now? That's got a new root. So everything now in the grow room is just absolutely romping away. And I don't know whether you'll see, that's that one there with the phalaenopsis that I've had for 3 years, and it's just going to flower for the first time. And this one is the Thunia Bensonii, and look at that, can you see? So I'm really chuffed with that one as well. So it's just really just a general meander round today, and look at that, look at that. Humidity's gone up to 74 now. And this is the one that I took off that wooden mount and put it on this cork mount, and I thought I'd damaged, well, you can just see the 2 marks there, and I thought it might have bought those growing roots, but look, it hasn't. And in fact that one that was just hanging in the air has now anchored down. So this one absolutely loves this cork mount, and I do quite like the mounts. So let me just take you along down here now, and this is the Dendrobium Kinganum Ellen, and this is sending out new growths and lovely new roots. This is the Aspasia, which has sheaths in, and then they seem to, this one over here, sorry about that, it has a sheath, and then it just aborts it, and I don't know, I've not got the conditions right on that yet. That's another on my list to understand why it won't progress on to the next stage. And this is the Sologeny Burfordiense, and I try not to keep it overly wet, but there again I do have to keep it moist if I can. And so this is just the shelf in front of the window with the everything romping away, and this is one I repotted the other day. I don't know whether I showed you this one. This is the LC Tropical Pointer, and she's still on its mount, but what I did is I just put it into this little box here with a little bit of sphagnum moss and some some lava rock, just to see whether or not that'll suit her environment better. And these are the 2 that I moved off that mount yesterday, excuse me, and that's the little named one. and this one's mainly in sphagnum moss, and this is the other one. Sorry about that, I've got the tripod and I keep knocking it, and that's the other one, and this is the, let's have a look for you, Laelia lobata. So, and this is of course that new Dendrobium. This is the one that I call Avatar, and this is the other one that just sits here facing this, and I looked at this morning because I wasn't too sure. But seems to be alright. And then right down here on the bottom shelf are all the little African violets. And let me just have a look. That leaf's going over now, but I think there's enough there. I'll give these a water in a few minutes. And that's a little axe out there. But as you can see, there aren't many. But what there are, they seem to be enjoying that little bottom shelf now. And that's the Coleogyne fimbriata. And that seems to have picked up now. Now you see, I didn't love that one, and that one went downhill. And now it's loved. It's giving me the love back by growing, and that's all that we can ask for. And we go over to this shelf here, and that's what's that little dendrobium? Firebird. That's a Dendrobium Firebird, and this is the other little one here, Laelia lobata, and I don't think I'd got this right because it's got all these markings on the leaves, so I'm a little bit dubious about that one. These are some little cakeys, and this is my big Coleogyne species from Australia, but I don't know which species it is. So oh, and I'll just take you down there, in there, before I finish. These are the ones that are in this little homemade terrarium. Actually those little cakeys don't look too good over there, but the Orchids, they're fine, and that's the Gomza recurva, and that's loving it. So all we can do is do our best. So thank you for joining me, and on this lovely sunny day here in Crewe, and take care, enjoy your orchids, speak soon, bye bye now.